Hey everybody, it's Dan with Pain For You. It's cold again. It's in the 30s. Pretty cold for April. So anyway, today's topic is going to be how to talk about your pain or symptoms. Okay, but before we do that, like I said, everybody seems to be enjoying the relaxation. Breathe out the stress. Breathe in the peace. Breathe out the fear. Breathe in the confidence. Breathe out the skepticism. So, feel free to keep on breathing. So today's topic is going to be how to talk about your pain. And it's becoming clear to me, the more I talk with different people and get emails from people, that the people who are in the worst shape are the ones who speak about their pain and symptoms with the most descriptive, fearful, agonistic language. And what we're dealing with here is the brain is trying to keep us safe by creating these symptoms. And if all day long you're walking around going, "Oh my God, it feels like an ice pick is being jabbed in my back," it's not going to do anything to convince your brain that you're safe. And I have heard some of the most horrific descriptions of pain or other symptoms, and the absolute terror that people are in from these symptoms. And I will say, as for speaking about the pain, my initial take was, don't talk about it at all, right? Don't talk about your pain, because it doesn't do anything other than reinforce it. Now, there are cases where your family or somebody, close to you says, "Hey, how you doing?" Generally, I still feel that the best answer to that is, I'm doing fine, learning some things, I'm on my way, I'm getting better. So how are you? And turn the topic away from the pain. Because if you spend an hour talking to your best friend about your pain, you've just spent an hour telling your brain that this is really, really important. And as I say often, and as I teach in these videos, shift your focus away from the pain. So speaking about it and speaking about it and speaking about it is not really going to help you. So I think it's as important to not only minimize how much you talk about the pain, but we have an inner dialogue going on all day long ourselves inside of our brain. And so I guess I should call this how to talk about your pain or how to think about your pain. And again, based on brain science and not wanting to focus on it too much, shift your focus away from it so you're not even thinking about the pain much. There are plenty of times when the pain is going to get your attention. I get that, but you can choose your response. Those were a couple of videos from recently. Focus and choose your response. But as you think about your pain or symptoms, as you speak about your pain or symptoms, remember, the goal is to calm the brain down. Teach the subconscious that you're actually fine. And again, all of the inflammatory language that so many of us use to describe our pain is not doing anything to convince the brain that you are safe. So the ice pick in the back, or, it feels like fire is coming out of my throat. Those are highly frightening words that are not going to do anything to convince your brain that your body's actually okay. So it doesn't matter what your symptoms are. And I honor you, I honor the struggle, I honor what you're going through. But remember, this is a convincing strategy. The brain is trying to protect you with these symptoms. Pain is there as a protector. And we need to convince the brain that we're actually okay. These pain signals, these symptoms are not necessary. So do you believe that using the most graphic, descriptive terms to describe the pain in the most, in the language that's fit for a horror movie, do you believe that's going to convince your subconscious that you're actually safe and that these pain messages are no longer necessary? It won't. And so, because we not only speak verbally to others, but we always speak all day long, I'll really encourage you to try to refrain from the inflammatory, scary, terroristic, that language really is not helping. And so, awareness. Become aware of how you think about your pain. Use words like discomfort, right? I'm uncomfortable today. Yeah, it's worse than yesterday, but I'm uncomfortable. Comfort is a big difference from it feels like an ice pick in the back, right? Big difference. So discomfort, but I'm still safe, right? These are the words you're going to want to kind of adopt and start using, because discomfort is a lot easier to understand and for your brain to accept as you're not so comfortable, but you're safe, as opposed to searing, screaming, burning pain. You get the difference. So, please, with your inner dialogue, try to use discomfort. And even some cases, you're massively uncomfortable, but you're not damaged, you're not broken, you are still safe. These are just sensations that are currently and temporarily in your body, that with consistency of thought and language, with less inflammatory thoughts and language, and literally you're trying to downplay it. You really are. You're trying to convince your brain that you're okay. So if you were to try to convince a best friend who's hurting if they were okay, would you tell them, oh man, it looks like you're getting stabbed in the back with a knife, or you got a headache, it looks like somebody hit you in the head with a hatchet, right? You're not going to use that language trying to convince a best friend that they're okay. So why do that with yourself? So as it relates to talking to others about your pain, even the medical professionals, if you're still going to doctors, if they say, what's going on, don't use all that inflammatory language. Just say, really strong pain, very uncomfortable, here's where it is. But man, the more adjectives you use to describe it, the more you are etching into your subconscious that this is really, really, really bad. And the brain will elevate the pain to a level based on its perceived belief or need to protect you. And watch that. Danger versus safety. Why pain flares. And again, in that video, I really explained why the brain's perception of the need to protect you absolutely determines the pain level. So if you're using very scary and like horror movie type of words to describe your pain, guess what's going to happen? It's going to get worse. Pain's going to get worse in the more adjectives you use to describe it, because you're just telling the brain, I am massively unsafe. It feels like somebody's, right? Massively unsafe. The brain is listening all the time. So your thoughts, the brain is listening. Your language with others, the brain is listening. And if you want it to calm down, you've got to use reassuring, calming words, not scary adjectives to describe your symptoms. And that's just a fact. So please take this upon yourself. And it all comes down to awareness of what I'm saying and thinking. Maybe you can even coach those around you to say, listen to how I talk. And if I'm talking about the pain, you might want to remind me like, hey, discomfort, not searing, burning, stabbing pain. I'm uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. That's a lot less scary than searing, stabbing, burning pain, right? You can feel the difference. And so just learn to pay attention to your language, including what you're thinking inside, because that's a conversation too, and your brain is always listening. So with that, guys and gals, I hope you get the point, and I hope you start to institute safer, more calming, reassuring language instead of the language that would scare the crap out of anybody if you were describing their pain to them in those words. So, love you guys and gals. I will talk to you in the next video. We'll see you.